What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the DJ Radio Podcast. Today, I had a great conversation with Shreddy, the head of BD at the Defi App. Shreddy gave a complete overview on the protocol and its goal to bring mass adoption to crypto. And before we move to the episode, I have a few disclaimers. Nothing said here is financial advice, and I am an advisor to the DeFi app. Okay, now let's hop into the episode. Hey, Shreddy, welcome to the show, man. Thanks very much for coming. Can you introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your background and like how did you start in crypto, get into
Yeah.
crypto?
Well, thank you very much for having me, Tiago. It's an honor, for sure. So before I even got into crypto, I would say that I kind of grew up in a time when maybe Ethereum and Bitcoin were becoming a lot more popular. So I actually had quite a bit of experience with it, before I even got out into the workforce. Um, but originally, my background is actually in marketing, partnerships, and A&R in the music industry and the entertainment industry, which I think kind of plays really well to the community aspect of DeFi. A lot of this stuff is, community led, and there's this saying in the music industry, the entertainment industry, that if you have 1,000 fans, 1,000 dedicated fans, it's much better than having 10,000 less dedicated fans. So that informed me a lot. And then I had a buddy, one of my best friends when I was growing up. He was working at a little known protocol called Olympus DAO, which was one of
Not
the
it's not so little, no, it
not
wasn't.
so little, not so
Yeah.
little. No, and very well known. But we he was working there on the strategy side, and this was before kind of Ohm's big run up, and they were looking for marketing support. So, I came on, worked my way through the team there, spent a lot of time, working with the community through everything. Kind of cut my teeth really well in DeFi marketing and business development. And then I moved on to some Arbitrum protocols. I worked at Jones DAO for a while. And then a past contributor colleague of mine had tapped my shoulder, who had been pulled onto DeFi app, and said, "Hey, we need someone who's, focused and dedicated to come on and lead the BD team here." So when I got pitched the opportunity, I said, "Let's do it." That was about
What
6 months ago.
I was going to ask when was that?
There you
But
go.
very interesting. And yeah, about DeFi app, like what was like the thing that sparked you that you I want to join this team and like I need to join this team. And after that, can you give like a background story on DeFi app?
Yeah, definitely. So I remember having sort of like a first introductory interview, if you want to call it, with one of the founders, just to chat. And the way that they explained the vision for this app was as close to a competitor to something like, the large centralized exchanges like Coinbase or Robinhood as possible. But there is and there was a way to do everything within DeFi on chain. So when I heard that, and kind of the pitch was very Jeff Bezos-esque, right? Customer. It was, how can we make the user experience of this app better? And I really appreciate and align with that. I'm, obviously myself an on-chain focused person, but like I understand that people outside of this little bubble that we live in don't have the same experience that we have, and DeFi is hard for them. So, solving that problem is the way that you're going to bring on a bunch of new users.
Yeah, yeah, it is the like it is a way to like get like onboarding like without like the risks and the regulatory stuff and on CXs that we saw I think a lot of people still like afraid to get into crypto
Hmm.
and go to keep like large amount of money on CXs after like the FTX.
Yep.
So it is for sure like something that I've been looking like for some for like a couple months that got me like really into like I think is how I can onboard my family to crypto.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
like you said, DeFi, like for us, it's like it's a day-to-day thing, but it is still annoying if you want to like let's say like bridge something like from an EVM chain to Solana and you need this money like fast to do something. It is pretty annoying. Sometimes you need to like to do like 5, 6 hops
Hmm.
and transactions to get the point. So it's not like let's like the very user friendly, let's say like that. And
Absolutely.
all right, so you guys are integrating like you're building the whole stack with like integrations and stuff. And can you like give like a brief overview for like the DeFi app and like the
Yeah.
chain abstraction thesis for like people that are not familiarized with it yet?
Totally. Um, so I think something good to touch on here is kind of what we were just talking about. Using these DeFi apps on a day-to-day basis is pretty cumbersome. Comes first nature to us because we've been here for a long time. But if like let's say I was gonna send a link to my uncle, my aunt, my grandmother for a meme coin, whatever it is, right? Not sure that you want to be sending Nana to the memes just yet, but it, you know, maybe it's a DeFi token or something like that that's on a specific chain. For them to get onboarded and access that token, you know, from our user testing that we did before launching and starting to build this app, took them about 3 weeks to feel comfortable. And I think that's way too long. I mean, it should be minutes, right? So the chain abstraction thesis for us, I'll just start there, then I'll kind of roll into the infra. We
Great.
we we tried to solve the problem of why do people make transactions? Why do people want to interact with DeFi? Um, and they want to they want to interact with DeFi because it's rewarding. It's beneficial to do so. There's more options for tokens. There's more security. There's more options for yield farming, leverage, a bunch of things, um, which you can't access on the centralized exchange. So what we focused on was instead of having this cumbersome system where people have to find a bridge, find a DEX, manage slippage, manage gas, all that stuff. Make a platform where they can onboard very quickly, either from a bank account, a centralized exchange account they have, anything. Maybe they even have DeFi. Someone wants to give them some tokens, right? And then just let them focus on token to token. Let them focus on acquiring the tokens and doing with those tokens what they want. And so that's really the driving force for us behind this app. And then on the infrastructure side, how we're making that happen is we're working with two great partners right now on kind of like a account abstraction, abstracted wallets that would be zero dev and dynamic, awesome teams. What that allows us to do is when a user signs on with even an email, right? They could sign on with Twitter, whatever. We spin them up basically two wallets, and then those wallets, one is for EVM use cases, one is for Solana use cases,
Cool.
can be used right away as soon as there's tokens onboarded.
That's that's interesting. In yeah, it is important. Like the the ecosystems like EVM, like last cycle in 2021, like used to be like mostly EVMs, and now Solana is growing and probably gonna get like something like Sui or like
Mhm.
Monad is EVM, but like something like the Move ecosystem, and like if I'm a normie and like I just got onboarded and like I downloaded DeFi app and I wanna be able to like buy anything that is hot. You talked about meme coins for like wouldn't like introduce it to your grandma, but in May, no, in April and beginning of the year when like everything was like hot, my father, which is like 65 years old, was asking me about like Doge and meme coins.
Hmm.
So when the markets are pumping, like people get like they want to try it, and the trailer that you guys like the demo that you guys presented, which I'll be leaving here.
This is Nana. And this is Dan. If Nana can't complete the DeFi speedrun challenge in under 45 seconds, Dan gets tased by this guy. And we're off. Create EVM, Bitcoin, and Solana wallets with her email. Done. Buy some ETH with her credit card with no KYC. Done. Swap ETH to a Solana meme coin, no gas, one click. Done in 12 seconds. Long the same meme coin with 5x leverage. Done. Enter a yield farm with her leftover ETH. Click, click. Done. And she did it. All done in 25 seconds flat. You know what? Let's tase Dan anyway, because he wears socks with sandals. DeFi is f***ing annoying, so our team of 25 builders from Robinhood, Lyft, and Web3 fixed it. Introducing Defi App, a super app that lets you on-ramp fiat, swap ETH to a Solana meme coin, enter a yield farm, take out a loan for $1,000, all from a single app on your iPhone. Gasless, fully on-chain, no KYC required, ever. On a platform so easy, even your grandma could use it.
I just swapped Ethereum with salami.
We just made centralized exchanges obsolete. The world has been screaming for DeFi to be more user-friendly. But after nearly a decade, 600 million users on centralized exchanges are still locked out by its complexity, missing out on the hottest new tokens, the juiciest yields, decentralized lending, self-custody, and on-chain perps. Why is Cash App valued at $138 billion? Because it made sending money as easy as texting. And DeFi App has made crypto as easy to use as an iPhone. Our mission? Displace the $40 billion in annual revenue captured by centralized exchanges. Access the entire world of CeFi and DeFi without ever leaving the app. The combined annual revenue of all DeFi protocols is in the billions. Through decentralized governance, our aim is to bring that value back to you, the users, with our upcoming home token.
For the people, by the people.
Welcome home. But we're not done yet. Beta access to DeFi App will be open soon. The biggest protocols and KOLs have already registered to prove who has the most degen communities across all of crypto. First come, first serve. So sign up now at defi.app.
It was easy as
Like the interface of the app you commented about Robinhood earlier, it looks like Robinhood, like the easy to use of Robinhood, but like looking better. So this is what like people need. They Some people like crypto natives like us, we don't know that we want to need something like that, but if we have it, it's like way better. And you said you're gonna get a lot of like partners, like wallet partners and stuff. So the tech on DeFi app is the front end, the interface, and the connections with like wallet providers, like bridges, and DeFi apps. Everything's like gonna be abstracted away in like one single like front end, right? Like to say something like what we see in like Phantom Wallet. When you try, like there's like the list of depths, and it's gonna be something like that, right?
Yeah, that's a great point. So what we've kind of gone for is to match or excel the user experience on a centralized exchange, which is why it looks so much like a centralized exchange with some added tweaks for more DeFi native stuff. But what we've done is basically we've created a lot of modularity in this app. So we said, hey, if there is a swap provider, if there's a bridge, if there is a protocol with better yield, we want them to be able to hook into DeFi or vice versa directly through us. The beauty of focusing on being a UX layer with connections is that as long as a protocol is high value, trusted, audited, all of those goodies, it's very easy for us to integrate them. So if someone comes out with great new tech, Bungie and Socket are really pushing on more, farther reaching account abstraction stuff, right? So it's easy to add someone like that after the fact. When it gets proven and tested and people start using it. And so the user never sees any of this. They just see, I have a token, I buy another token. They don't even need gas. They sign, there aren't any transactions as we know them. You just sign a passkey transaction and you're off to the races. So yeah, everything for the user is abstracted away into the user interface, but on the back end, it's these connections that run through different apps, pulling it all together.
Oh, cool. And any transaction I want to perform is just one click, right?
Yep. And we're actually thinking about adding in, like session sign-ons. So let's say you want to leave the window open. You maybe you don't want to trade something right now. You want to watch a chart, and maybe when you're around later, right? Sign a session, leave it open, and then as soon as you come back, just make the trade, right? We want the user to be able to have the freedom to do as much as they want, but in a safe way, right? Like we're always keeping safety at the top, because this is all new tech, right? Passkeys, account abstracted wallets. So we're trying to keep it as safe as possible. But yeah, at the end of the day, it really is a very solid kind of abstracted experience.
Got it. And cool, man. And everything is it is like no KYC, right? And self custody, and with my biometrics unlock, right, for mobile, right? And do a user have the option to write down his seed phrase if he wants to, or everything's gonna work through passkeys, like something similar to what Infinex are doing right now?
So we've kind of taken an approach where I'll explain kind of like an overall goal or grand vision of mine. It would be so great for me to see people using this app as a replacement for their daily, app experiences. So instead of using Uniswap, and Uniswap still will get used, right, like on the back end by the system.
Yeah.
But instead of the user using it or using a bridge, anything like that, they can basically come on, abstract that all away, and just start to make trades. And something that we've also wanted to add in is EOA support. So we do want people to link up their existing wallets, be able to hop in the app, link up. Like it's kind of clunky these days. I mean, it works fine, but to get tokens from EVM to Solana, for example. But on DeFi app, instead, you just connect with both the wallets and you just use the app to swap between them. And you also kind of have a unified portfolio between the two. You no longer feel like your Solana bag is different from your EVM bag. They kind of, they can be swapped back and forth. But yeah, that's really the main idea there. Is we wanted to keep it. We do want to introduce the passkeys and the biometric support. Let people use that and realize the benefits, but also keep it usable for the average DeFi user.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because the average DeFi user, we are more tolerant to risk and volatility in these markets. So if Degen wants to put a large amount of money, and some people like that I talked to are not comfortable with like put depositing a large amount of money if they don't have the like the seed phrase, if it is secured by a passkey. That's why
Mm,
I asked it. So in on the Solana and EVM side, we're gonna have one single balance. Got that? But uh, if I want like to receive funds, like I want like to pay for something in to you, and like you're gonna use your DeFi app wallet. I want to send from Solana. You like you get like you can like choose like the different address, right?
mm.
In
Yeah,
there.
yeah. When you want to receive or withdraw tokens from DeFi app, it's from that account. All you have to do is just copy the wallet address, give it to the person that you're trying to receive from, or vice versa. If you're trying to send, very simple. You just copy the address of the person that you're trying to send to, paste it in there, and you're off to the races. You can do this between passkey accounts. You can do this between EOAs. Um, yeah, we've kind of added this little hub for people to manage their sends and receives.
Oh, cool. Just so the people who don't know like understand, an EOA is a wallet like MetaMask or
Yep.
Ready is a
Yep.
wallet that is not a smart contract wallet. If like somebody that's listening to this don't know. And
Yes.
okay, okay, cool, man. And regarding you guys are in closed beta right now, right?
Yeah.
And
We're in a private alpha beta stage right now. The distinction there is really just what stage of development the app is at. Um, we do have, we've built a really great community so far, a lot of engaged people. From that community, we've been able to pull, maybe 100 or 150 alpha testers. And then in the coming weeks, we should be rolling out our beta version, which is where we feel like we're 90, 98, 99% happy with the product. And there's always going to be things that you want to improve and change, right? But for us, if we can get these swaps down pat, get people really excited about that in these beta and alpha cohorts, we think we're gonna have quite a lot of people joining us in for the full public beta.
oh, cool. And yeah, and like there's some particularities that like some people likes one thing that's like very like unique to this person. So yeah, it's like 98, 99%. It's like it's awesome. And on regarding the roadmap, when are you guys like planning to launching like the public mainnet?
That's a great question. I'll just say expect more information on that before the end of the year, right? I don't think we want to give any specific dates out, but what we'll
No,
say is we've been gunning for before the end of the year.
yeah, it's just an estimative. Like for it's hard to give like exact dates, right, in software, but just an estimation. Like end of the year, it's cool. I know a lot of people that would love to try it. About integrations and that the apps that we're gonna be able to use like out of the gate. Do you already have like the an amount of apps? Like if you can name some and
Yeah.
chains too?
Yeah. So I'll start with the chains. There's going to be 5 chains for our go-to-market product. And these are just chains that we have kind of identified to be, very high in daily active users, popular tokens, things like that. Chains that people are using every day. So I mentioned Solana already. For the EVM side, it's Arbitrum, Base, Binance Smart Chain, and Ethereum mainnet. But pretty soon after, there's opportunity to hit your Optimisms, your Avalanche, your Polygons. We're going to look at, I'll just say many of the up and coming chains that haven't launched yet. You take that as you will. Been talking to everybody. But yeah, we're gonna start with those, and then in terms of app support, so one of the key integrations for us is we after like let's say grandma gets in a meme coin, she makes 100x on her bag, and she's smart, so she wants to take profits. She doesn't want a round trip. She can pull basically one click into yield strategies right on the app. So she doesn't have to go and get out of the app, go to another place and access yield. She can do it right from the app. So we've placed a lot of priority on trying to pull, some great partners for that so far, of folks that we've already got kind of ready for launch. We're going to slow roll the yield. The swaps are the main event. But we're going to slow roll these yield strategies. We've got the likes of like Alchemix Gains. You could say that Trader Joe with some of their offerings, Pump BTC, Lido, Origin, Balancer, GMX. There's quite a bit here. And I mentioned GMX. Leverage is also something that we're going to be looking to add to the app, whether that's, looping via lending protocols or perp dexes, whatever. We do want to add that functionality into the app. So we're going to start kind of slow rolling these sorts of integrations pretty quickly.
Yeah, the leverage is something that it's like keeps a lot of people using the app, because especially in markets like these, right? People love to do a little gamble.
Yep.
But,
Yep.
and this is it's the best thing to gamble is like meme coins and leverage. And yeah,
Match made
lending
in
market. Sorry.
As a match made in heaven, meme coins
Yeah.
and leverage.
Yeah. And the core infra is money markets, dexes, and some stuff I don't know if you can comment on that, but will you add JLP from Jupiter from day one? Because that's one, not financial advice, but I love the thing, and to
Yeah. JLP is
rotate in
awesome product.
profits. Yeah.
Yeah, I love personally, because I may have mentioned it before, but one of my previous roles is at Jones DAO. Jones DAO kind of, along with a bunch of other protocols at the time, we're working on strategies for GMX's GLP, which is analogous sort of to Jupiter's JLP. And so I have a lot of experience and love for those kind of liquidity backed yield strategies. And so call it your JLPs, your GLPs, your GMX V2 GLVs, and then also some stuff like your LRTs, your Renzo, EtherFi, whatever. Same deal for Sol, Marinade, whatever on that side. We're going to try to support them as soon as possible.
Oh, that's very cool. I think that's one important piece to keep people in the app.
Yep.
It's
and the best part is we don't need anybody to lock into our strategy. We're just going to surface to the user and pass through to them some of the best strategies out there. So the protocols are still getting the benefit, right? They're still getting the TVL, the user base. They're just getting it through a different venue.
Yeah, and this is it is good for every protocol to integrate with you guys. They get more distribution without the needing to marketing stuff.
Yep.
And who owns the distribution usually owns game, but for underlying infrastructure, let's say that, from the DeFi apps in this case acts as infra, and for the infra, for the are great. It's great to have a distribution channel fueling into the best products, just by just plugging in there. And regarding fees, man, you mentioned that you'll be gasless, but because of the account abstraction. But will the app start taking fees in the beginning, or something for later in every transaction? Do you have something that you can share about charging fees and stuff?
What I can say about the gas is when I say gasless, it's kind of in air quotes. The gasless feature is that you as the user, to make an EVM transaction or a Solana transaction, don't need ETH or Sol in your account, right? We can execute those transactions. There is a fee to make that swap without that gas, and on the end result is of the tokens that you get after your swap is where you'll see that gas taken out of. But it's market competitive, right? I would say we're trying to get as low as, or just as low as. I don't think we can go lower, but your arbitrum fees, your base fees, stuff like that. And then there's also slippage accounted in there, so you do have to take that into account. That will affect some things. But for us, I don't know if I could comment on our fees specifically at this time, but I'll say that we're going to do it in a way that's extremely market competitive, right? We don't want the user to be bent over on fees. They should use this and feel like they're not, getting punished for using it.
Yeah, for sure. It's probably gonna be better than MetaMask and Phantoms, like 0.8 and 0.85%.
Yeah,
That
crazy.
people still use a lot. So yeah, if it's better than that, like the comfort to use it is worth to pay a little bit like an extra fee. And for like DeFi
it's
users,
a convenience factor, right?
like convenience factor,
and
yes.
People pay for convenience all the time. And the other side of the coin is, you could still take full control anytime you want, right? Like you could, if you wanted to, you could, instead of off ramping back to your bank, you could off ramp into DeFi. You could go further, spin up a Phantom wallet, spin up a Ravi, and get going. But the convenience factor of using it, I think, is really valuable.
Yeah, for sure. It's like there's a lot of things like in the, let's say, real world that we use that we pay all the time for convenience, and like we don't complain because it's something, some optimizations that like helps improves our like life quality and like work quality and stuff. So if it works if it's better for us to like have, if we have a better experience by like need to pay a convenience fee, like why not, right?
Exactly.
And you said, you touched something that about like not off ramping to a bank and like keeping DeFi. Like this is like I think that's why we are all here, right? To become like in on-chain economy that we can use it in the real life. Do you guys have any plans, and did you have any talk internally with the team regarding some like cards, credit cards? Because these are becoming a thing right now. I know there's
I've seen a
not
lot.
that it doesn't have like a lot to do with like the main proposition for the product. But when you said that, it clicked in my mind, because when I was traveling, I went to like some conference in the US, and then I went to Asia, and I was using a crypto card. And man, just so I wouldn't like need to send the funds from wallet to an exchange, then to off ramp to the bank, and just use a card, it was like so much better, and spend everything in USDC. Like I didn't take like a big cut from the off ramp from the exchanges. I didn't need to take like I didn't need to pay like capital gains tax because I wasn't like selling like crypto. I was just like spending in this stuff. So do you talk about it inside internally?
Yeah, so I can kind of maybe even touch on like how this would play into like a KYC environment. So our goal ultimately is to be, no KYC throughout what we offer on DeFi app. That being said, there really is no way around KYC on some stuff like on ramping, for example, right? Like if we wanted to do a MoonPay integration, that's going to be part of the deal. It's not our KYC. We're not collecting that information, but that person will have to do that and settle that with MoonPay.
Sure.
I think some of the same applies. It depends, obviously, like where you live, stuff like that. But I would say I'll shout out a company that I use and I really love for this sort of thing, which is Spritz. They make this really easy. I know that a lot of the old C DeFi stuff had credit cards. I know that the crypto.com, that those credit cards are very popular. The issue there is then we start to get into the weeds of who is collecting this information on the user, and is that something that we want to have happen? But what we're happy to do is help someone access that service and link up their DeFi app account basically to that, and say you can handle the KYC with them, but we can make your self custody no KYC wallets available to you, similar to how you can fund with an existing wallet already on those sites.
It makes a lot. Makes a lot of sense, and like preserving privacy is like very important, and in these days. And regarding like regulation and this stuff, and do you think like how do you think like the Trump like victory like helps what you guys are building and offering these services to US people and stuff? Do you think like this have like a big impact on it?
Definitely. So I know that people use DeFi globally. That's the point. But there is still a very high percentage of the user base that comes from the US. You got to think about it this way. The incoming president, not only has he launched a lending protocol, he's also going to be working on a few other DeFi projects and trying to set up a strategic Bitcoin reserve. These are all really bullish things. And look, presidents say things to get elected all the time. And there's probably a lot of that going on here. But if even a few of those things come true, it would be a massive step forward to starting to peel back the really heavy regulations that we saw kind of coming out of the last cycle and leading into this one. Also, you've got Gensler stepping down. You've got the OFAC sanction case against Tornado Cash being thrown out today. All that stuff is very bullish for kind of the relaxation of legislation, especially in the US. So yeah, I'm very like I said, I don't think everything's going to come true. I don't know if he's going to be able to pull off a zero capital gains on crypto. That would be great.
I really doubt that.
I don't think that's going to fly. But some of the other stuff might make it a lot easier to use this in the US. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure, man. I agree. And regarding the Tornado Cash, like I wasn't expecting that. I woke up and like when I got a meeting the start of the day, and when I started to check the markets, I was like, "What is going on?" Like the Tornado Cash token went 10x. I was like, "What? They uplift the sanction?" I was like, "Damn, yeah, things are like getting better, right?"
Yes,
man,
nature is healing.
Yeah, and changing subjects straight from like DeFi app now. And today I was like in this meeting with this friend. Like he is like he works in crypto full time for almost 4 years now, and like he's shitcoining a lot on Solana. But he wasn't like doing in anywhere else because like he didn't want to manage other wallets. And now that Phantom integrated Base, he just instantly like bridged to Base and started using it. And like we were talking before we started recording, like I've been seeing a lot of like theses about wallets being like the place that retain users, not chains. Like it was the conversation in 2021, 2022 was like this chain gonna keep the users. No, it's wallets. And like how do you think how do you think about this going forward, if you think about it at all? And like how can like what you are building on DeFi app can leverage it in your favor since you're building
Mhm.
a one-stop shop?
I always like to think of things analogous to other industries. So this is not going to be a perfect one-to-one comparison, but if you were going to think about it, so the fat wallet thesis, moving people towards a wallet-centric future, makes a ton of sense. Think about it as in 20 in you know in the 2020 2021 cycle, you did have a lot of this competition for chain domination, right? Who's the top dog, who's doing the most daily active users, lowest fees, all that stuff. That's like saying I'm going to the grocery store and I want to know that the guy who's delivering the groceries is spending the least amount on fuel, or like like there's
Yeah.
these are things that should be pushed into the background. And don't get me wrong, I got a lot of great friends and guys that work on all these chains. They're all fantastic teams, and we work closely with them at Defi App. But the user doesn't need to know any of that. They just need to know, in the case of the groceries, I'm going to buy bananas today, instead of I'm going to buy bananas that were delivered by this person at this time,
Using
and
like
and
Honda
stocked by
motorcycle.
and stocked by this worker, right? Like, I believe definitely that this industry is moving more towards the user kind of maybe acting as their own mini bank. We heard that when I started at Olympus, this was kind of the motto. It was like, I mean, this is the bankless idea, right? Get rid of the banks,
Yeah.
go to your own self-custody stuff. And the user has more options to do that. And Phantom's great example of a use case where a user is already very familiar with using the app. Now we've added essentially just more options for you. Yeah, you have to bridge and maybe get acquainted with base, but you've now opened up a whole new section, a
Yeah.
whole new aisle in the grocery store, right?
It is like I got a lot of like people saying like you don't know like how the TCP/IP protocol works. It's like nobody wants to know that. We just want to
No.
use the internet. I think
Yeah.
like probably when the internet was in the phase that crypto is right now, people probably like wanted to know like there's like the enthusiasts and like the people that just want to use it to get something done, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
They wanted to have mesh networks, like their own like private,
Yeah.
private servers and stuff like that. Now you just want to Google something, go on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Like that's like you have to build things for the common user, and they don't really need to know. I mean, if you look at, I mean, this is kind of a sad fact and something that we can help to build against, right? But there's so much like identity theft and password leakage. People are very open with the information that they give about themselves online. The same can be said for the information that they give to centralized exchanges, right? And so, well, I really like what Apple's been doing a lot lately, putting an emphasis on security for the user, because I think that putting that back in the user's hands, protecting them is worthwhile, but making it an experience where it's still very easy to use. All my passwords can populate and I can change them at any time. And so for something like DeFi app, I can go to any token and I can see if it's a honeypot rug. I can figure that out and buy it at any time. And so, yeah, just I agree. I think that we're in a very early internet stage of things for crypto, but the best times in Web 2 were when things started moving towards focusing on the mobile user.
For sure.
And this is also another thing that like DeFi has got to do better, which is what we're trying to work on over here, but everybody, right?
Sure. I think we're in this like transition phase, like from the enthusiasts to like real usage. Now that we have like, we still need to improve the infra, but a lot of things in place so it can work, right? Because like manage an EOA on the phone is like it's a terrible experience, man.
Yep.
Like it's
Funky.
awful to manage in EOA at the phone. But if you guys gonna have the app right off the gate, right out of the gate, or you guys gonna launch the desktop app and then the mobile?
We're gonna do the web app first. So you can use the app, but you can use the
PWA?
app on your internet, your search
It's
engine
a
of choice, whatever.
PWA, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can do that. But we will be going down the route of iOS, Android. It's going to take some time because the app basically has to be rebuilt in different, front end code design. So, and you also have to deal with Apple and all that, the fun stuff.
The
and Google,
30% fee on
right?
Apple is like, yeah, it's outrageous, man. Insane.
So we gotta kind of play nicely there. But there's 100% a future where a user could type in crypto or DeFi or whatever on the iOS store, and DeFi app pops up and they just download, right? And they're getting everything that you would get on the web app, because passkeys can be done, like just take Apple ecosystem for example, can be done directly within their passwords app, and you can sign with your Face ID, and it just works like it does on Robinhood, Coinbase, whatever.
Yeah, that's very important to like mass adoption. Like people don't want to turn on the computer to do something; they just want to press buttons. And as a PWA, it works great. Like I'm gonna take Frentag as an example, not an example as a great functioning app, but like the difference, like an as a PWA, it works like it used to, like it should. Just like the app wasn't very good, but and it worked.
No, but I agree that you can definitely get that mobile experience. It's just it's very nice to be very optimized for what you're building on, especially in software, and that takes a lot of time. And the beauty of DeFi is you can spin up web apps fairly easily. I wouldn't say it's easy by any means, but easier than going for the mobile route. And you can get started with the PWA, right? But having that dedicated app it's just where most people even know how to access applications, right?
Yeah, cool, man. I have one question that probably most of the audience want to know. Will you guys like have a token, and like can you comment on that and
What can I
the
say?
campaign, if you're having like incentive campaign? The Degens want tokens.
Here's what I'll say. We have a campaign that's starting up again, hopefully before the end of the year. I think we're planning on maybe earlier mid-December. We're calling it the Degen Arena. It's going to be what we're envisioning, kind of the best pieces of some of the points campaigns from the last 1 to 2 years. So, we've picked and chosen from Layer Zero, Blast, Igen, and the LRTs, a ton of people, to kind of create a very simple and easy to use points program. Essentially, what you're going to be doing is, if you want to get in on the public beta of DeFi app, and this is after our kind of like private rollout, which will go in the community. So if you do want to get access to that, join the community, hit the Discord, whatever. We're going to have people only able to join through what we're calling factions for this arena. And those factions are comprised of some of the protocols I listed before. And when a user joins the faction, the points that they generate on the app, which is just done by making swaps, interacting with different things, spinning up passkey wallets, that's going to be also counted towards the faction that they're in. And then it's a very clean 20-80 split. The faction owners get 20%. So we're rewarding those protocols. We're even allowing individuals to join in on this. So let's say you're an influencer, you have a very attentive community, you could spin up a faction and allow people to earn, and also give yourself a little bit of a kickback there. And then 80% goes back to the users. So it's like an 80% bonus for joining one of these factions. It's kind of a no-brainer.
That's very cool, man.
Yeah, and also what it does is it allows us to align a lot of these protocols before we really roll out with full launches of stuff. And one thing that we wanted to do was, because we're trying to service many different touch points in DeFi, we wanted to allow anybody who really thinks they are a force to be reckoned with in DeFi to join. Right? We're not trying to limit it to our friends and family. Like we if you're a high performing protocol, you can do well in this. And so yeah, we've been talking to so many people, so many new people to me, which has been awesome. I've spoken to amazing teams. But you'll see all of this and in more detail on socials and everything, probably in the next 2 weeks. So I would tell people to keep their eyes peeled.
So you guys heard it, man. If you are a DeFi power user, if you have a community, reach out to Shreddy, get in the DeFi app Discord, and go for the campaign. It's like, it seems very interesting. Like, I like the approach that I haven't seen anybody doing something like this. Like the original approach usually, like, it usually have like good repercussion. I remember when Etherfi, Blur and Etherfi were the first two protocols that I saw doing points, and it works like great at the first. Now there's some kind of point fatigue. It's going away because we're getting like some new good airdrops again. But like, the one who starts a movement usually like gets great success in their campaigns.
We're of the opinion that when you do a points campaign, the action that a user takes should be value additive, or they will get fatigued, right? So all we're saying is, just use the app as you would if you were just gonna, log in and use it anyways, and you'll be rewarded for that. So there's no lockups or anything like that. And, I think that did work really well for some people. That was great. But what we're saying is, focused on what we're building, we wanted to reward people for doing the actions that we think they'll get the most value out of.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. It's like what Hyperliquid did. I didn't see like a single
Exactly.
person like get like annoyed by the points in Hyperliquid. Like, everybody like liked it, and everybody's hyped for TG, for their TG.
Totally.
Man, that was like great conversation, and I'm very excited to trying DeFi app. And before we wrap, at first, where can we find out more about you and DeFi app? I'm gonna leave all the links in the description.
Yeah, I would say the best place would just be to hit the description, scroll through our Twitter. We like to have a lot of fun, drop a reply, whatever. But our Discord is really fun. We have an amazing community manager, Doran. I'll shout him out. And join in there. You can ask any questions you want about the app. We're more than happy to spend time walking through, the ins and outs of everything. And then, if you want to get on the kind of beta tester early list, you could just go to our website and drop an email, and you'll be in the first to know about when that stuff is rolling out.
Oh, great, man. So, final two questions that I ask to every guest that I have here. The first one is, how would you describe DeFi app in one sentence?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let me think about that for 1 second. I would say we are solving crypto's UX problem that will make centralized exchanges obsolete.
That's a good one.
I think that's pretty good. You could also do something like sleek, zero KYC. What was that?
Where you can grandma trades crypto
There you
without.
go. DeFi, a DeFi app so easy your grandma could use it. One of those two. They're fantastic.
That's good too. And the other one is an alpha. I took this from the Up Only playbook. So bring an alpha to the audience. It doesn't need to be like about like DeFi app. You already like shared a lot of alpha regarding DeFi app. But if you have more, you can drop it, or it can be for someone that want to like start to work in the industry, like anything, like regarding anything that you want. You will feel like
Okay.
it's be valuable share.
I'll give two things. I'll give a token shout out. I'll shill something really quickly. There's a and then I'll give some constructive advice.
Not financial advice.
No, not financial advice. There is, Arbitrum's kind of going through this. Arbitrum is one of the leading L2s in nearly every metric on L2 beat, except for maybe adoption, which base is going pretty haywire these past couple of days. There are almost no meme coins on Arbitrum. There's one very high performing, very cultish coin called Boop. If any boopers are listening to this, they're gonna appreciate the shout out. I'd say go check out the dog. Give his nose a little tap. And then I wanted to kind of say something. I'd love to talk really quickly about how to get started in working in the industry, because I actually got a message shared to me today from somebody that I brought in to work with me on a protocol as one of their first jobs at a school, and I really liked this kid. He was a community member in one of the protocols, and I said, hey, I want to take a chance on him. He messaged me today and said, I just want to thank you for giving me that chance, because I now work at this place, and my career has really taken off. And so I would say that if you are interested in working in DeFi, all you got to do is just join a community that you align with and make yourself valuable. Provide some value. People will pick up on it and will, put you in the door. That's how I got my start at Olympus. I hopped in, I started providing value, and it just took off from there. There's also recruitments pages that you can go to, but I would say the best way to do it is just to get in the door.
Yeah, I agree. Like crypto is like one of the most like meritocratic places that you can be. You just, if you don't have like a good resume, and like if you are from like a developing country like me, you just like need to show up, hustle, put your work,
Yep.
and somebody will perceive the value and will hire you. I know a
100%.
lot of people here from Brazil that they didn't like really like speak English, and they got like jobs in protocols because like they grinded. So they showed up, they put the work before, and they got jobs, and they got some business with like English speaking
Mhm.
protocols, and they're going. So this is a great alpha, man. It's like I'm pretty sure a lot of people like that watch this want to work in crypto,
Mhm.
and this is like the way to start, right? Man, that was
My
a
choice.
great conversation, man. Really
Yep.
enjoyed this. Thanks very much for coming. And do you have any final words?
Not really, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on. Um, I will just say super cycle. That's all I'll say. Close it
Real.
on super cycle is real.
All right. Thanks, man. See
Thank
you.
you.